Hi there, my name's Ross Honig. I work for OCA Benefit Services as the Business Development Manager. Today we'll be talking about the new health insurance marketplace notice requirement. And so what we'll be covering is a few things. One, what employers are subject to the notice, what employees have to receive the notice, are there any penalties associated with it, and then finally we'll be talking about a service that OCA is now offering that is in conjunction with this new notice requirement. But before we get into all that, let's quickly review what the notice is, why are we having this discussion. So, as we all know, beginning in 2014, there's going to be a new way in which individuals can purchase health insurance, and that is via this marketplace. And so the Department of Labor, Department of Treasury, the Obama administration are now requiring employers to offer and send out these notices to the employees, simply notifying them that beginning again in 2014, there's going to be a new way in which they can purchase health insurance via the marketplace. And that's what the notice is all about. So what employers have to send it out? Well, it's any employer that is subject to the Fair Labor Standards Act, FLSA. They're required to send out the notice. So who's subject to that? Well, if you're an employer that is engaged in interstate commerce and has at least one employee, you're going to have to send out the notice. Or if you're an employer that has at least $500,000 in annual gross sales, you're going to have to send out the notice. And finally, if you're a public agency or in the healthcare industry, you're going to have to send it out. Now, that being said, we recommend that if an employer has at least one employee, to protect themselves for any potential issues later down the road, they're going to want to issue and send out the notice. So, what employees have to receive it? Well, it's pretty simple. All employees must receive the notice. It doesn't matter whether or not they have active medical coverage or not. They could be full-time or part-time or seasonal or temp. As long as they are an active employee, they must receive the notice on or before October 1st of 2013. And any new hire after October 1st, 2013, the employer must issue this notice within 14 days of that new hire date. That being said, there is no monetary penalty if the employer decides not to issue the notice to the employee. However, our recommendation again, the employer should still send it out regardless of whether there's a penalty or not, because here's a scenario that could potentially happen. If the employer decides not to issue the notice and send it out, and 6 months in the employer decides to terminate employment with an individual and it's a bad breakup and that employee was never made aware of the marketplace and never made aware that they could have potentially qualified for a subsidy, well, then it's very easy for that disgruntled individual to make a phone call to an attorney, and then they've got much bigger issues on their hands. Our recommendation, have the employer send out the notice. So the services that OCA is offering is pretty simple. For a minimal fee, we will generate and mail out these notices to the employee's home address via first-class mail with a proof of notice to the employer. The fees are as follows. If you're an existing OCA client, it's $2.50 per notice. If you're not an existing OCA client, it's a $50 setup fee plus the $2.50 per notice. However, again, if you're not an existing client but elect one of our services within the next 12 months, whether it be an HRA, FSA, COBRA, etc., we will waive that $50 setup fee and as a credit against the future invoice, return it back to you. So that's the service that we're offering. Pretty straightforward. We'd essentially need an employee census. We'd put that information into our system and generate these notices to the employee's home address. So if you'd like to move forward or have any questions about our service or just about the marketplace requirements in general, please feel free to reach out to my office. We'll be happy to help. All my contact information is listed here. Thanks so much.